underestimate the power of PlayStation.
Confirming it more. Kyle writes into beyond at ign.com, just like you can. It says, greetings to Greg, Colin, and the ever-rotating third chair. Which
Not
is
anymore.
Dead.
Not anymore.
If you write in with ever-rotating third chair and your question now, you don't even get on the air.
Oh,
That's how
man.
it ends.
This is harsh.
No, I will have to do it.
Until next week's episode when I will not be on.
Sure.
There will be multiple rotating.
Sure,
chairs.
that makes sense. We have like 15 episodes next week.
Yeah.
Beyond.
Yep.
Beyond.
I was grieving over some of my bad game choices recently, and I got to wondering.
I thought it was going to get really dark.
I'm grieving over my grandmother. What Vita game would you suggest to pass time at a funeral?
Oh, God.
I was grieving over some of my bad game choices recently, and I got to wondering, what is the most painstaking review you've ever done? A game that was just so terrible that it seemed like it took forever to finish and was impossible to find any redeeming quality for in the review. Thank you and beyond, Kyle.
Amy.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That was the worst review I ever given a game, and that game sucks.
Yeah.
That game sucks. I hate that game.
Yeah.
And I actually never even finished it because I couldn't. Because it was impossible. Like, the game was like totally... There was a point, I mean, it's in the review where I'm like, I refuse to play this game anymore. I'm not playing this game anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it's over.
Good.
I'm done.
Yeah,
and I remember thinking, like, it's a cool idea because it's kind of like, it got an, kind of like an eco thing going on where you have like a little girl with you and she's following you around and stuff. But there's just I'll never forget that game. Like, as long as I live, because of how terrible it was. I'm sorry, Greg.
It's fine. Trust me, I got my work cut out for me this episode.
Like, it was just
Do you remember?
2. I gave it a 2, and it was just broken. It didn't make any sense. There was my favorite part of the entire game was that like there's like these little, one of the mechanics is like sending the little girl like crawl into spaces that you can't crawl into, but all of the spaces are like huge, and I'm like, why doesn't the woman just duck underneath and do it herself?
Yeah.
Like, and immediately I started asking these questions, but that's like the least of the problems in that game. That game is just awful.
I forgot about Amy.
I want people to actually download it just to play. Like, that is the epitome of a bad game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lowest scored one I ever did was Naughty Bear. But like Naughty...
You were wrong about
No,
Naughty
I
Bear,
was not wrong. You admit all the time that it's bad.
History
It's just-
shows that you were wrong.
No, history very much. And that was the same thing where it was a great lead for me where I was like, I've only played a few hours of Naughty Bear, but I don't need to spend any more to tell you it's not worth... Or I've wasted... it was great. Read it. It was a really good lead that I can't remember now, but I loved it. But it was like, short, and I didn't beat it, and I was like, this is just bad. I don't need to play any more of this. The game, though, that I think of when he's talking about painstaking, that like it wasn't... This is different, because it wasn't a terrible game, but this speaks to how IGN used to do it, and how I'm glad we don't do it anymore. But, you used to review everything. So I got assigned Valhalla Knights, which is a JRPG on PSP, and I was like, this really isn't my kind of game, but if you want me to do it, I'll do. And that was like pulling teeth.
Yeah.
To sit down and play that game and be totally disinterested in everything about it and still have to play through it. And just, I remember just like dreading it on the weekend, because of course you play games on the weekend. You don't play them at IGN. You don't actually do them at your desk. So to be out there and be like, I can't believe it.
And
it
the sun's outside, like everything.
Exactly. Well, not even that. I just want to play other games.
Yeah.
But it's, just something that's so not up my alley. And now, we play to everybody's strengths. So it's a different story, but that's one that stands out.
I think the lowest score I gave a game, it was before I was at IGN, when I was at 1UP, Never Dead. Remember Never Dead?
Oh, yeah, Never Dead.
I gave it a D-. Did not enjoy that game. We had letters back then. Didn't work out well for us.
Turns out the audience not a fan
Should
of
have
that.
changed numbers for Metacritic.
They did not like that.
Yeah, that was a trash game. Like your character couldn't die, but you'd explode, and then you'd just become a head, and you had to roll your head over your body parts. That wasn't a fun game.
Katamari.
Yeah.
I remember that game.
Kill Amari.
You were wrong about Naughty Bear, though.
I was not wrong about Naughty Bear.
When I went, I was going through some of my old toys a few days ago. Like, I have like all these boxes just full of crap that I've collected since I've worked here, and I found my old Naughty Bear statue, and it's awesome. It's actually really well made. He has like a huge. He has like a. Like
if only the game was.
I was
really
going to say, glad that's where the money went. The investment they want.
The cover was so awesome too. Everything about that game was awesome, except for the game.
Colin.
Yes. Users lose all sense of reality and enter another world. Remember, do not underestimate the power of PlayStation.